Okay, so let's go ahead and get things started, and people can still pop in as they go. Hi, my name is Jenna Nilo. I am the Director of Marketing and Outreach with Illinois Digital Educators Alliance, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I am very, very excited to welcome today's speaker, Daniel Rizak with Tynker. He's going to be talking about microbits and Tynker, physical computing made easy. So a few housekeeping notes before we get started. I have muted everybody, but if you happen to unmute yourself, please keep yourself muted. We will be using the chat window throughout the presentation. So if you do have a question while Dan is speaking, go ahead, throw it in the chat window. I will be monitoring that, and when Dan takes a breath, I will go ahead and interrupt him with any questions. Anything that we don't get answered throughout the webinar, we will also have a Q&A section at the end where you will be able to get those questions in as well. If you are looking for PDHs today, Illinois educators will get one PDH. At the end of the webinar, I will put a link in the chat window for you to go ahead and register for your PDH. That link will be available till midnight tonight, and then we will shut that one down, give you guys credit for being here live today, and then tomorrow I will be emailing out a copy of today's recording, and so keep an eye on your email for that. You'll get the recording. And then Dan, I don't know if you're going to be able to give me the slide deck as well. I can add that too. So if you want to just shoot it to me as a PDF, I'll go ahead and add that to the email as well. And I think that just about covers everything. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Dan. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so you don't hear my dog bark. And we'll go from there. So Dan, thanks so much, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm a big fan of IDEA, and I was actually on the committee for many years when it was ICE, and now that it's IDEA, it sounds like you guys are doing great. Always glad to share with the Illinois community and teachers, and glad that I can offer this for you guys. And so just a little background about me. I'm currently the Senior Education Partnership Lead for Tynker. I've been, in many of the districts in Northern Illinois here, Palatine, Northbrook, as a, tech teacher, science teacher here in CPS, and a tech integrator, Northbrook District 30, most recently a tech director and STEM coordinator in Palatine, which is where I really started kind of digging in a little bit more. I got a chance to build my own makerspace in my last position, and we started doing the hour of code every year and really digging in to that. So that's kind of where my Tynker story starts. I'll just give you kind of a little window into Tynker a little bit more before we get into kind of the microbit fun stuff here too. But basically, I'm also wanted to mention a couple things before we do that as well, that we will be picking a winner. We're going to give away one microbit to one of you wonderful attendees, because you deserve it. You've came, you're taking part. So we're going to give away one of those microbit Go kits. At the end, we'll raffle off one of those. So stick around. We're going to do that. I'm also going to give all of you an opportunity. I did put a little link in there for the microbit kit, which is something new that Tynker is doing, but it also comes with a couple of courses. So you will have an opportunity to get a discount on those. I want to make sure you have an opportunity for that if you want to get like a class set of microbits and stuff like that. So we've set you up for success there. And I'll show you that in the end. I don't have to spend a lot of time on that now, but it's good to have hardware when you want hardware, right? So just a little kind of window to into Tynker. Again, when I was starting out in my maker lab, we started doing hour of code. Many of you would probably still do that, and we do it every year as well. After a couple of years, we were kind of like, okay, like what's the next thing? Because an hour or a week just didn't seem like enough. So we started looking for stuff that was more comprehensive, and with my integration background, I really wanted to find something that integrated into core curriculum. And if you can do your best and try to find stuff that does that, but we found, Tynker had English lessons, social studies lessons, science, math, stuff that we could do integrated into the core curriculum, which was just kind of above and beyond our wildest dreams. So in addition to just right now, we have like 600 hours of curriculum, tons of free stuff every week. You guys get the free, project of the week. We are partnering with NASA right now. So we just did a NASA project. And then there's this really cool kind of like transition from block to text coding that now we're starting in pre-K, right? So Tynker Junior transitions to Tynker, and then we get into, syntax in high school and stuff like that. So just a lot of real benefits for moving from kind of the play with code phase to the engagement, to the mastery phase. So we really like that. So one of the things Tynker does too, and you may notice this, and I'll show you a little bit here in a moment, is just that we're exposing students to syntax at like the super early age, right? In kindergarten, they can start being exposed to Swift and Python and JavaScript, and that way we're kind of like building a schema in computer science. So when you see these puzzles and you see those little buttons in the puzzles, you can really, your students should be asking questions, right? Like, what is this? And you get a nice opportunity to tell them a little bit more about what they're really learning, right? So I love that because I was a science teacher and I love things that drive inquiry. And when students raise their hand on their own and say, hey, what is this? This is interesting. So right now we're reaching like 60 million students around the world. They've coded 5 billion lines of code. We are 90,000 schools all around the world. Australia, and a lot of great new connections we're making with Tynker. So one of the things I think is really important, right? So if we have certainly a lot of opportunity for you to learn just the basics with coding, but then how do you apply coding, after you have the basics? And now you can apply it in so many ways, right? You've got robots, you've got drones, parrot drones, Lego, we have courses for that, Spheros, Rolling Ollie, those guys, and now Microbit, which I'm really happy because if you've ever used hardware with young students, 3rd grade, 4th grade, you know that it can be a real challenge to find something where they can just start using it right out of the gate. And I think that we've cracked that here. We also partner with Minecraft, we have augmented reality, and then just tons and tons of great Tynker block coding and text coding courses and experiences and templates. That's another thing I'll kind of show you. You've got free templates that you can use at your disposal all the time. So now we've got 5 pre-readers courses in our Tynker Junior app, 600 hours of coding content. And again, it's a real focus on mastery. It's going beyond just the dipping your toe into it, so to speak. And then tons of DIY projects, some of which I'm going to get right into here in a moment. And then again, that STEM piece, which I love. So, and then a nice robotic piece here too, the Microbit courses, which we'll get in. So these are kind of extensions that we've had. So we've had drones, we have Legos, we have augmented reality. Now we have Microbit 101 and MicroPython 101. So I'll open those up a little bit too, so you can kind of see the different types of projects and things that are available there. And one thing that you should know, we just updated our workshop. So the Tynker Workshop is all new. It's easy to code. It's, blocks are bigger. I'm going to open that here, and it loads faster. I love that, and just a lot more efficient. And it also matches very much the iPad experience too. So it has kind of a nice symmetry with the iPad. Right now, yes, of course, you can do this in the new Tynker Workshop. You can run on the device. It actually will upload to your Microbit via Bluetooth, and I'm going to walk you through that process. I realize that we are kind of doing, this is it's hard for me to know what you're doing on your end, but ask questions as you go along. We'll try to, help you as we go, but I'm going to kind of show you the very start, what to do when you want to get started with Microbits and Tynker. And it's a real great piece if you're on a Chromebook, if you use Google Classroom, that type of thing. But let's get started. and open up the Tynker Workshop here. Or this is my dashboard. So I'm going to start over here, and just when I sign up as a teacher, it usually asks me to create a class, and I do that typically off the bat just to kind of go through the funnel, add a few students, and if I have Google Classroom, it's even better because as I add a class, I can just connect my Google Classroom. It's probably the easiest and best way to do that, but you got to set up that Google Classroom first. So I'm not going to run through that, but that's what you got to do, and then you just link it. And you're in, you got all your students connected. So that's what I would do first, but just to kind of play out of the gate, I can go to the create button here, and we can actually start creating microbit projects just from scratch. And there's a real kind of nice way to do that. When you go to the create button here, I can just create a new project, and it's going to give me the choice of just a hardware project, or I can do a lot of our other type of templates. But now we have microbits, and I'm going to go and start a blank microbit project just to kind of get us going right out of the gate. So I'm going to open that up, and there's going to be a couple pieces here that I want to just highlight. And if you have a microbit, with you have a microbit. This is the one I have is version 1.5. So it'll work best on this or above. And I need to do one thing, the hard part of all of this. And this is probably as a teacher, you may want to set this up before your class gets in or starts using. It's up to you how tech savvy they are, but it says right up here how to set up your microbit. So there's one piece you want to do before you do that, and that is, and I'm not going to do this piece, but I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to share the link with you in the chat because you do want to update the firmware on your microbit. All right, that's one thing you want to make sure you're updated. There's a little bit of, it's pretty simple to do it. You just download the microbit firmware, and then you're gonna plug it in and jiggle it, and but it walks you through, and I don't want to do that right now, but I will tell you to do that part first, and that's the annoying part that perhaps you would do as the teacher and maybe not let the student do, but it's up to you. But the next piece of that is actually going to be the setting up our microbit, and this piece I can totally show you. So I have a microbit here, and the next part we want to do to set things up is we want to put the Tynker VM on the microbit. So I'm going to click on set up my microbit, and what's cool here is I can name my microbit, which is going to be really helpful so that you don't get them crisscrossed, because all of these are Bluetooth, and if Billy over here and Sally over there, they're going to be uploading. We want to make sure that I'm going to name mine Tynker Danny, and I'm not going to put a passcode on it. I'm going to be okay with that, and I'm going to download this little hex file. And if you want to involve your students in this is totally okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But let me go ahead, and when I have to, this is the one time I'm going to want to be tethered. I have a little USB thing right here, and I'm going to plug this in. And once I do this once, I can be Bluetooth afterwards. But this is the one time I'm going to be tethered to my microbit, and let that plug back in. So my microbit's plugged in, and I downloaded the Tynker hex file, which is right here. And all I need to do is just drag and drop it. It's going to copy, and it takes a second here, and then it'll kind of relaunch microbit. All right. So there we go. It is relaunched. I'm going to unplug that, and now I'm plugging it back into my battery. And now I'll show you. Can't see my camera here, but let's see what happens. Now I can. So what does it say? Tynker Danny. So what's nice is it actually programs the name of my microbit right in there, so I know it's mine. That's kind of nice. And now it's going to be Bluetooth from here on out, and it's going to be real easy to find this as well. So what's nice is here in just starting the microbit project it's kind of giving me a little code to start with, And a couple of little tips about the Tynker IDE. I can stretch this window out if I want to, just make things a little bit bigger there. I can, if I want to trash my blocks, I just bring them over to the left. I can scroll here and I can search for more blocks, over here. So like when I shake the microbit or when I receive, if I want to do some sort of broadcast, I can do that there. So there are some, a lot of different options here for my microbit in this right here. I can set my display. I got a lot of fun blocks here where I can like create some fun little LED things here. And then I can unstart. We can try a couple of these things too. So let's I'm going to put this out to the group. If you're there and you're listening, what should we tell the microbit to say? Let's program the microbit to say something fun. Let's start with that. Okay, it is Wednesday. That's true. Happy. I got one recommendation right now. I can say that. That's fine. Any others? Are we voting on that? No, there's no way to vote on that. But it is Wednesday, so it is hump day. You can say happy hump day. And so watch how this goes, because I'm going to hold this up right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit and run my code in the bottom right. All right, so you can see it's going to look for the one, you can see up in my top corner here that I want to pair it with the one that I just formatted, right? So I'm going to pair that, and it's going to upload, and there it goes. And we're done. That's it. Bluetooth, right? Super simple. So you can imagine, I can imagine anyway, being a third grader and having the ability to just create really quick and upload to my microbit and already seeing results. It's magic, right? Oh, look what I did. I created this thing. Happy, is that backwards for you? Happy hump day. There you go. It's Wednesday. So there's a good, first kind of project out of the gate. And that's something that, our youngsters can do without, any issues. And so I might want to try this one, right? So I can, here's another one. I can create different types of we call these emojis, right? Or, we can create our own little ones here, and we can set our display. We can run that on our display, and we can try another one. This is, again, I'm thinking, we're thinking early right now. So early grades. All right. There we go. Paired. Pair. All right, here we go. Bam. Cool. I could create a whole list of different little faces, right? I could keep going. I could tell my microbit to show display and then wait, and then display another one and wait. And we could create a whole animation with something like this, and really just have some fun getting started. But I really like, again, I've done Arduino with students. I've done Raspberry Pi. I've done a lot of these kind of microcontrollers, and to see and have this happen, and make this stuff just work is really kind of cool, right? It's nice to see. So this is kind of just getting started. You open up the IDE here, as we call the workshop, the Tynker Workshop, and just start, on start. Here's a few things we can make happen. You can probably come up with some great ideas as to, what could we do with this display? Could we create an animation? I bet we could, right? We'd have to start basically creating some, probably add a wait block here, and then, start bringing in some sort of, maybe we wait for, 0.5 seconds and we start going around and around like that. So there's definitely some opportunity there for us to do some more with the Tynker Workshop here. So just a couple little workshop tips. If I wanted to, say, copy code, there's a couple things you can do. One is just to right click, and you can copy and paste. So if you want to just copy code that way, you can copy blocks. If you wanted to use one of my other favorite features, let's say I spent a lot of time on this code and I wanted to save it for another project, thinking ahead. I can put it into my backpack, which is right there, and I just drop it right in to my backpack, and that will save. This saves code from projects. Oh man, so I have so many projects. And there's my one code bit there. So I can save chunks of code for other possible future projects. But you know, that's one thing coders do all the time, is they save and they use code from other stuff. Is, you know, if you've built a building, right, you can use those plans for another building, really, technically. So this is just kind of getting us started with bare bones from scratch types of projects. But we have more. We have so much more. So I would definitely say that's a great place to start. But then where do you go beyond that? Well, then we have some kind of tutorials and a little bit more scaffolding if you want to then take the next step. And so there are a handful of new microbit tutorials. I want to show you where those are. So we're going to go back to our Tynker dashboard, and we can save that. So save and exit. And here, I'm going to go back to, well, they're right here. You know, they're under Create. So this is where you see so many options for creating new projects. And students have this view too. They have their own Create view where when they create a new project, they can, or they can just go right here to this folder, which is the microbit folder. And these again are Tynker block projects, and I will show you, and we'll get into Python projects as well. But this is the Tynker blocks. It gets students started just with using the Tynker Workshop, but you can also get there as well if you go to the hardware folder here, and then you can see the blocks and you can see Python. And so if I go to the blocks here, again, same place. But here we have a few different projects, and there's a little bit more hand-holding, a little bit more scaffolding for me here. And so one of my favorite ones here is just this project. I like the loaded die project because it's a little sneaky, and I'll show you why in a minute, but it's a lot of fun. All right, so but this one has a little bit, this one has a tutorial built in. And so it's a little, you know, just 4 steps, but it does get me started here. So here's my loaded die instructions. It basically tells you that, you know, we're going to tell the microbit to when you shake it, basically, to roll a 1 or a 4. But if you hold a special thing, it's going to do a tricky thing on you. So it's kind of a little, it's a con artist thing. So but it's fun. So we don't do a whole lot of instruction in these small tutorials. These are kind of ready to go, but you can then, you know, go in and you can manipulate some things when you get in there. And so I'm just going to go ahead, and you can, by the way, you can drag all that code right out to your coding area. And I've got that so far. And now we need to add a couple of blocks to call the roll function. So basically it has, the great thing about this device, right, it has so many things in it, right? It's this tiny thing. I think I got this for almost, I got it on sale at Micro Center for like $10, but it's got an accelerometer, right? I can shake it. It's got a temperature sensor. It's got, you know, it's got buttons on it. It's got LEDs. It's got everything you need without having to add anything more onto it. So I think that's pretty cool. So if you look at the logic kind of this project right here, when we roll, so basically we're saying when we shake, that's the roll function. So when we shake it, it's going to repeat and pick random 1 through 6, pick those random numbers. And then if we are holding the value, the pin, it's going to do something else. So let's go ahead and upload this so we can show you what it looks like. And this one's the last one I used, Tynker Danny. Let's pair. And so this is using some of our, these are free templates that are available to you. So now, all right, reset on that. There we go. All right, so here is my rolling dice, right? So if I shake it, I get a 1. Shake it again, I get a 4. All right, now the trick is you say, I bet you $1 or something, or, you know, that I can roll a 5 or a 6, right? Do you think I can do that? Maybe. All right, so I will do it. How did I do that? Oh my gosh, I rolled a 5 again. So this is fun, right? Because I've done this so many times at conferences and stuff like that, and people don't get it, but I'm just holding I'm holding the 0 pin, right? So I've got it in my code right there. So if there's a value on pin 0, then if it's greater than 500, then to pick 5 or 6, or else do the 1 through 4. So this is what we call a loaded die, right? And kids, you know, you can teach your kids great values with this fun little trick. But you know, a lot of coders have their own fun little jokes that they like to do. This is a fun one. So that's good. But I will go ahead and save that. I think I have it saved. And I will go back. And for now, I'll exit. That's fine. I will open up another one of these because these are a lot of fun. There's another one here that's pretty cool. And I don't know if this one has a tutorial in it, but I'm going to just show it anyway because it's really cool. Now, another thing that these amazing little guys can do is they can actually talk to each other. So it might be hard for me since I only have one hand, but this one doesn't have a tutorial. Laser Game is a project that allows, it's a game where you can play it's a multiplayer game with multiple microbits. So if you upload the code to more than 1 microbit, and we can try this today, and we'll see how it goes. But you can then have students play with each other because now these are radio controlled and they're talking to each other. In fact, you could connect, I think, like hundreds of microbits together. So, so let's give it a try. We're going to run this code on Tynker Danny, and we're going to pair that and upload that. So this one's a little bit heftier. It's going, it's going. By the way, if you guys have any questions, you just let me know. This is this is another great feature of microbits, is the way that they can work with each other. All right, so we're gonna get one going here. And done, it's completed. So now you can see I have like a little joystick, right? I can go back and forth and I can fire. All right, but I don't have a player 2 right now. So I have to get a player 2. So let me try to get a player 2 and I'll show you how that works. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and run that again. Except I'm not going to connect to that guy. That's where we're going to connect. So I have another microbit. So we're going to upload there. This is where you fast forward the video. Oh, it's so funny. So we're going to upload there. And I don't know, this is just fun. You have to see this. So we're gonna do it. Almost, so close. And we are ready. All right, so I'm gonna show this demo. It's hard for me to play together, but you can see here now that if I move this guy, right, left and right, that the guy on the other side is connected with each other. So I can fire together. When you fire and you press A and B together, again, hard to do with one hand, but it has to be done. You fire the missile. And then the other guy has to avoid them. So it's really fun. But again, another great example of this is just stuff we can do right out of the box with Tynker and microbits. So it's all ready to go for you. So that's the Tynker Blocks tutorial part of things. The the DIY tutorials. So there's a lot available there for you. But we also do have this available, and there's another section available for your more advanced coders with Python. So I wanted to make sure we give you an opportunity to see a little bit of that as well, because you can do some really great stuff with Python as well. And you can also connect via iPad. Should you see the iPad stuff first? Maybe you should. But I'll show this part to you because I'm not gonna go crazy with iPad, but because I can't really connect to it. But we do have the Tynker Workshop is available on iPad, and you know, there's a bunch of other devices you can connect to as well. But the nice thing now that you can connect via Chromebook or an iPad, it gives you a lot of flexibility in whatever device you have in your classes. And so we do connect to a lot of other devices too. But I want to show you just how this looks, right? So you can see on iPad, it now kind of looks very similar to the Tynker Workshop on the web. So kids are going to see that those things look very similar. But I did kind of make a little recording here so you can see what this looks like. And so if I go to the project section on my iPad, we're going to create a new project, and you can go to Robotics, and then there's a microbit project of kind of ready to go for you. And on the top here, you get the Tynker Workshop on iPad, and all you need to do, basically, you can, you know, like we did before, but now you're just touching. You can edit your text. So there's a project for you to go right out of the gate. And then for this one, I said, Idea Illinois rocks, because it does. And hit play. And again, it's going to connect very quickly and upload directly to your iPad. So you see the little green light, it means it's Bluetooth connected. In fact, I just did this a second ago, and I just didn't want to make sure I didn't want to have any issues with connectivity. But when you run it on your iPad, it looks for all those iPads, all those microbits right away, and you select your microbit, and you're ready to go. So it's just really swift. So again, we're just switching back and forth between devices using whatever is best for you and your students, and these projects are just ready to go for you. So so I did want to show you that, but there is also the Python piece too. So I can show you that and get you kind of moving with the Python piece as well. So Python, this part is a little bit more involved, and this is the one, when you start to use Python, Python is not Bluetooth, but we've innovated in another way when it comes to Python. So let me go back to my create here, and then I'm going to go to my hardware, and we're going to go to Python, and we're going to show you how this works. So unfortunately, we can't be Bluetooth with Python, but that's okay, because your kids are be a little bit more, advanced, and they can, connect to a computer and be okay. So we have a few different examples here. One of my favorites is Mood Badge, and I guess there's another project called Loaded Die, but this is the Python version, and then we have something called Pixel Art Maker. Both of these, again, kind of do a nice combination of kind of crossing technology with art, which I like. And so let's open up Mood Badge so you can kind of see what this looks like. All right. And we will keep that connected. All right, so with these, again, these are kind of scaffolded projects. With these templates, there's not a whole lot of exposition, right? With our curriculum, when our beginner courses, there's more like, here's how to do this, and we have quizzes and stuff like that, and summated projects and stuff like that. But with this, there's a little bit of exposition, and then you basically just get coding kind of right away. So I'm going to go to my Python code here, and with this you can see that there's a little bit of exposition right inside the code. It kind of tells you, create an array list of image strings. So with this one, with Mood Badge, basically all we really need to do is edit our array, our string here, and we will have a new face. And so I'll show you kind of how this works, but with each one of these projects, I'm gonna add a little comma there, and I'm gonna add 2 new ones. You'll kind of see, you can make it, you can do as many as you like with these. So with these, I'm going to show just so that we can really get an idea of what these are supposed to, what these might look like. I'm going to put, we use 0s and 9s because 9 is the brightness level on the LEDs. So if I make, something really bright, it's going to be a 9. Something off is pretty much going to be a 0. And then I can start to, basically I'm building faces, right? And this is a lot of fun. So we're just going to put a 0 there. Now we've edited, let's say I've edited my faces and I'm ready to deploy. I've got my microbit plugged in, and I'm going to just do, the innovation here is that I don't have to download, drag anything. There should be a 1-button deploy. I've got my microbit attached, which is good. And I'm going to deploy that microbit right there and connect. And it's going to flash, and sometimes it takes, with this, it might take like up to 30 seconds. So I'm going to give it a moment. But just like before, once it's done flashing here, I'll unplug it and then I'll put it back in the battery so you can see what that looks like. Usually takes about 30 seconds to flash. There we go. Oh, cool. Very cool. I don't even know what I did. I think for a project like this, I might actually have a piece of paper with the squares on them, and then kids can kind of like, so here's my first face that I just created with my 9s and 0s. And then if I want to toggle back and forth, I just hit the button and I can go through all the different faces. And so I edited the first 2, if you remember, 9s and 0s. I made 3 rows of 9s in that first one. And then I went through. And then we can keep going. And I could create a little animation, actually, if I just kept going with these. But again, this is more designed to really just get kids kind of engaged in Python. Again, the nice piece about it is that it's 1-button deploy. So regardless of, I don't know, this is really designed for more of the middle school, but you all have kids that are really good at this stuff. So you decide what is best for them. So that's Mood Badge. I'll go back and I'll show you one more of these templates because they're pretty cool. And then we're going to do our little raffle, and we're going to take some Q&A. So let's go back to, nope, not that, back to my dashboard. So here I go. There's one more, and I like this one. It's called Pixel Art Maker. There's not a lot of code. This one's kind of ready to go. But once you get it in, it's a really cool project. So there's not a lot of editing of this code. And you'll see, I think, even in here, the instructions. We're creating images and icons on the fly with the microbit. So with this, again, you plug that in, you plug that sucker in there, and again, 1-button deploy. With this, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to create art on our microbit, and it's kind of nice the way that they did this. But I'm going to go ahead and connect, and we'll upload. And in the meantime, hopefully you're playing laser game on your side, right? So you can. There we go. All right. My other one, it's dead. We reset. Hit the reset button, and we're ready to go again. So that is uploading. Another 2 seconds. There it is. All right, so this is cool because what this does is you get like a little LED here on the in the middle, and it's blinking. And so I can move my LED or make it bright or turn it down. And then I can create a little artwork, right? So I go like that. And then I keep moving my, so we call this Pixel Art Maker. And so you can see kind of how powerful that is and how fun that is, right? Immediately, I've added some code to that and I'm already creating art. And so that is, that's a lot of fun. So these guys, we are coming up with new projects like these every week. There's new stuff coming out. So I want to make sure I stay on time, not get too far behind, because I know your time is valuable. But in addition to these kind of DIY tutorials, of course there are dozens and dozens of other tutorials for Python, JavaScript, HTML, kind of ready to go out of the gate. So you have a lot there to practice with. This is the new, we just recently updated the code editor. So you'll see in some of these projects, there is a tutorial on the right side, and kids will actually get a little bit more, hand holding on that, a little bit more scaffolding, which I like. And there's two new things that we launched in addition to this new microbit kit. So we have two courses, and one of them is called just microbit 101. And then we have MicroPython as well. And each of these has basically, what we wanted to do was exploit all the amazing things you could do with the microbit. And so you'll see that in these projects that are available, they're just, emoji maker, lap timer, every sensor that's available on these things, basically we use in these courses. So so there's even more projects here, lap timer, and there's just so many here. And so I can actually give you a little update just so you can see kind of where that is, what that looks like. In your dashboard, if you're your teacher dashboard, you can always go to courses and you can preview any course. And so in the bottom, what you'll see are all our coursework. I mean, this is literally 600 hours of standards-based coursework. But on the bottom, you can preview microbit 101 or MicroPython 101. And I'll just open that so you can kind of see there's like, right now we started with 8 lessons, but it's going to be expanding. With all of our lessons too, we have totally great lesson plans, that we totally set you up for success here. So you have, all the answer keys, things like that, any technical requirements, things like that you need. The lessons here, you kind of see, you can preview those as well. And this is what one of those lessons looks like, those lessons here. Students actually go through modules. So this is where they are actually learning, getting a little bit of an introduction. And these little guys are kind of walk them through. And then they get a project at the end that they have to do to then apply their skill. And then they get a little quiz to kind of just give them a little formative assessment. So each one of those lessons comes with like robust lesson plans, introductions, new code blocks, vocabulary. Like we really set you up there for success. A lot of, here's every activity broken down. So you can see how just with these projects that we're using, we're using the LEDs, we're using the accelerometer here. We're creating variables, expressions here. And so we're trying to utilize the sensors, right, in the microbit sensors as well. So the motion sensor. There's so many parts of the microbit that you're able to use that we want to make sure that basically these projects show off all those great parts of the microbit. And so you'll see that the Python course is a little bit more robust, I think. I don't know, robust. There's more, it's like 14 lessons in the Python course. But again, you can preview that on your side there too with I show you those lessons because we really want to make sure that we're using every aspect of the microbit. And so there's like 14 different projects in here that students can take part in. The temperature sensor, the light sensors, the motion sensors. And then again, with these, they get a project and then there's typically some sort of formative assessment as well. So a little bit beyond just creating a project. You're actually going to be able to then go to your grade book and get that for yourself as well. So I know I'm getting to the point where I want to make sure that we add and ask any Q&A if you guys have any questions. So we do want to give away we have a couple things we want to do, right? We want to make sure just what's new with Tynker. So we do now have QR code login for your iPad pre-K folks for Tynker Junior. We did launch web design. We have new district and admin metrics for schools that are, have maybe more than one, class or one, school. And then Crystal Clash also was recently updated. So if you're interested in other stuff, I'll get to the, I'll just show you that we have, all this content. You've already seen it. So elementary, middle, we're actually launching a pre-K plan, like literally any day. So that should be another thing that for some of you that are pre-K through 2 plan. So, yeah, one of the things I did want to put in here, I'm going to do this raffle here in just 1 second, is if you need more microbits and you want to, we wanted to give you guys an opportunity to dig in a little bit more. So we, basically over the summer, we put together the Microbit Inventors Kit, which comes with either one of those courses. So you can get it for the K-5 or you can get it for middle school. And it comes with 15 microbits, battery packs, cables, motors, speakers, LEDs, alligator clips, and then 30 seats for the course. So that's something I think we all wanted to make sure that you have. I'll just put it in the chat here so you've got that. Microbit 35 off, and we're giving you guys 35% off that actual kit. The kit's like, I think it's like $6.99, I want to say. So it does come up to, I think a really reasonable rate for you guys. So you can actually go to that link, and if you do that today, we'll make sure you have a plan and you can get one of those courses for yourself. And now we want to give away the Microbit. So we have a flippity wheel. And who's got the flippity wheel? Oh, I'm being told we're choosing a winner for our Microbit giveaway. So you got to tell me who it is.
Okay. Do you want me to show the flippity, or do you just want me to do it?
You can just do it. I trust you.
Okay.
I trust you. We can hear it.
I'm going to spin my wheel.
Class tools, right?
I put in everybody's name who's on right now, and Nancy Rocco.
Nancy, you are the proud winner of a Microbit Go kit. Everybody, round of applause for Nancy.
So Nancy, why don't you, you can either direct message me or Daniel in the chat and give us your email address so that we can get your contact information to send that out to you.
All right, cool. That's fun. We'll get that out to you as fast as we can. All right, my friends, I do have some time for some questions. If you want to see something a little bit more in depth, or if you have any kind of curiosities, we do have the Q&A. So fire away if you like. Getting ahead of myself. Questions, thoughts, concerns?
I think you did such a good job. Oh, they got one.
Yeah, Microbit.
Does
it
Microbit
works with
also work with Scratch?
Many different things. I think there's a whole place. If you go to Microbit's website, you can see all the different types of software that it works with. But yeah. Do they have one button deploy and Bluetooth deploy? I don't know. Inputs and outputs. So here's a good question, right? In a couple weeks, you'll want to look on our website or follow our Twitter or however you like to do those things, because I'm going to be doing another Microbit example of how it works with Google Docs. We are going to show some examples of how to export data from your Microbit. And so we have a couple of Google Docs examples, which is pretty cool. Like accelerometer, temperature data, that type of thing. So stay tuned for that. So there's some outputs there. That's pretty cool. And you have a Sphero. Looks like it works with. Does it take place of using your phone? I'm curious. Does what take place of using your phone? I'm confused. You mean like, yes. So if you're using Sphero with the app or whatever, yeah, you program Sphero with Tynker using your Chromebook, laptop, or you should use your iPad for that. But saying that suggestions on how I can help students remember and apply the code that they learn through the tutorials. Yeah, well, best thing for me was always, I reward my students with projects. So if you get to the end of a course, and even we have 2 starter courses in Tynker that you're right there. So if you go to those P100 and P300 and you use those courses, they're right there, right? P100 and P300, you can assign them right now. When you get to the end of a course, you reward your students with more projects, right? And then I say, go ahead and go to the, the Create tab, pick a project that, fits your ability level, or explore. Or they can also, there is a, we do hour of code. So there's like 37, over 40 hour of code experiences now, I think, in Tynker. So you can have them try out. We have 7 new ones on Tynker right now too. So all of our hour of code experiences, and there's new ones on the bottom. And I believe that they are all connected to the UN Global Goals project. So there's clean energy and life on land. And so there's lots of opportunity, but that would have them go and apply. So can you give advice on microbit product for teachers who are totally new to using microbit in the classroom? So when you say microbit product, what do you mean? Kevin? First of all, the microbit Go kit, if you don't have that, it's like really cheap compared to any of your other STEM stuff, right? It's like $12. You can get group rates on that. The Inventor's Kit, $6.99, but you're getting 35% off if you use that link that I gave you. So I don't have the subtraction math on that, but I think it's 400 somewhere in there, which is pretty good for 15 microbits and all the wires and sensors and everything. Oh, no problem. Actually, it's okay, because when I am home with my children on a sick day, I often do webinars. So, but yeah, no, you should definitely expect a really good rate for that. And I believe when you submit that link, all of you kind of will get, you'll get a plan within like a day. So you can take a look at that and make a decision there. But thank you, Lewis, Kevin. No, it's okay. So if there's a product, a software product I would recommend using with microbits, that would be Tynker. So tynker.com, sign up as a teacher and sign up with Google if you have a Google Gmail, because it's just so much better to do it that way. No problem, Kevin. But that's what I would recommend. And not just because it's Tynker, but mostly because of innovation, because of one-click Bluetooth upload, and then with Python, it's one-button deploy. And those are 2 things nobody has on us right now. So yeah, no problem. Any other questions? That's good. Those are all very good questions. All right, I know we do have a couple things, just a couple notes that we want to make sure you guys are aware of, and that is, and then you can, you want to talk about the webinars for next week? Okay.
So just wanted to let everybody know, as part of our Webinar Wednesday series, we do have one next week on digital citizenship and digital literacy. So Renee Hobbs of Media Education Lab will be speaking next Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30 Central Standard Time. So hope you register for that. And then the following week, do we have that one in there?
We do. There it is.
Yep. The following week, November 6th, we're going to be working with our partner Class Intercom on Beyond the Algorithm, how your school's social media tells a story. So all of those are on the IDEA website for registration. Like all of our Wednesday webinars, they are free. So we would love to have you guys register for that and join us. And now in the chat window, I am going to put the link for your PDH for joining today. So if you go to that link, bit.ly Tynker 1023, It will be available until midnight tonight, and go ahead, grab your 1 PDH for joining today. And after midnight, we'll turn it off. Tomorrow morning, I will email to everybody who registered for the webinar today a video of today's webinar, as well as a copy of the slide deck so that you guys have that as well.
Absolutely.
So
that's awesome.
Unless there's any other questions, we'll stay on for a few more minutes in case there's any other questions. Otherwise, thanks for coming today. Oh, we have a question from, nope, that's from you. Never mind.
There was a question from Kevin, but I tried to answer it in text with my little fat fingers.
You're good.
But Kevin, if you have any other questions, any of you can reach out to me at daniel@tynker.com. It's pretty, hopefully, DANIEL @tynker.com. And like Kevin, that's a great question. There's definitely, things we can work out depending on your number of students and things like that. So you should, inquire a little bit further, because I think we can figure something out. All right. But any other questions? Oh, cool. Yeah. Now, I'm sure I've met some of you guys, and if you're going to like IETC in a couple of weeks, I'll be there, and IDEA, I'll be there in February. So we'll see you soon, right? All right. Well, again, thanks everybody, and we'll follow up soon, and appreciate the opportunity, IDEA.
Great, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time today, Dan. It was great. Hope it was wonderful for everybody as well. And again, if you have any other last questions, please go ahead and throw those in the chat. Otherwise, oh, we do have one. When is the 35% offer good for?
I think you have a week.
Is there an expiration
Here's the
date on it?
answer to that is just fill out the form, get your piece of paper. As long as you have the piece of paper, I don't think you're going to get a lot of arguments on that, but usually it's a week. But if you just email me, let me know, but just fill out the form, and that way you're pretty set. So, all right. Cool. Thanks, Louis.